Ok. Vale. Diría que todo está bien. Vamos a ver. Vale, sí, perfecto. Español, correcto. ¿Jugaste a Stanley Parable? No. Así mismo, da igual. Introduce la hora actual. ¿En serio me haces poner la hora actual? Ah, vale. PM, las 4. Vamos a hacerlo exacto. 1. Listo. Nota. Puedes acceder a configuración. Vale, genial. Uy, ¿se ve mi ratón en la otra pantalla? Ay, el menú. Vale, en principio no creo que tenga que tocar nada. En principio, vamos a empezar. A ver.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Vale. Esta es la historia de Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ripping, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
Vale.
Stanley was happy.
Stanley era feliz.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
No sé si está el volumen
Something
muy
he
alto.
would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
De golpe no llegaron
No one had
órdenes.
showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Vale. No puedo coger nada. Me puedo agachar. Vale, espérate un momento. Voy a aprovechar configuración, sonido. Me ha parecido que estaba un poco fuerte.
This is the story of a... This is the story of a man...
Así creo que está mejor. Vale, no puedo entrar a ningún lado.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
A la
Perhaps
sala de
he had simply
reuniones.
missed a memo.
Quizá no le había llegado una nota.
No
Vale.
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Vale, aquí un ordenador. Uy. Vaya, lo he apagado.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Vale, el comentarista este parece que no lo ha dicho muy contento. Uy. Vale. Esta puerta sí se ha podido abrir, pero esta no. ¿Podré abrir aquí? No.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Vale.
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Y cruzar la de su izquierda. ¿Puedo volver atrás? No. Vale, supuestamente debería cruzar a la de la izquierda. La de la derecha es la que no tengo que coger según el comentarista. Vale, la primera le haremos caso. Vale, no puedo entrar en ninguna habitación.
Yet there was not a single person
Pero
here
aquí tampoco había ni
either.
una sola persona.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
Subir a
office,
la oficina de
hoping
su
he
jefe
might
con
find an
la,
answer
vale,
there.
con la esperanza de encontrar a alguien. Vamos a ver qué tal. Uy,
Stanley stepped into the broom closet,
Pero no
but
había
there
nada
was
allí.
nothing here, so he turned around and got back on
y se
track.
puso de nuevo en el camino. No, realmente no hay nada.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley
Subir
walked
hacia arriba a la
upstairs
oficina de
to
su
his
jefe.
boss's office.
No. Hay un papel aquí. No se puede coger. Creo que no. Vale.
But Stanley just
Pero
couldn't
Stanley
do
no
it.
podía hacerlo.
He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy,
¿Por qué se había
why had
arriesgado?
he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy.
Su pensaría que
And then
están...
something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when
Oh,
he
fuck.
looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for
Cierto.
that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't
No habían
actually
desaparecido ni
gone. He wasn't going to lose
ni iban a
his job.
despedirlo, no
He
estaba
wasn't
loco.
crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll
Supongo
wake
que
up
pronto
soon.
voy a despertar.
I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all
Vale,
entered
a ver,
Stanley's
pregunta
head.
extraña.
One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly
Se
strange.
parecía de lo más
I'm
extraño.
dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take
Hostia, esta vez me
responsibility
está
for
dando la
himself?
chapa que da gusto,
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all,
Pues claro, estaba
he knew
seguro
for
de sin
certain,
duda
beyond
alguna
a
que
doubt,
todo era un
that
sueño.
this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in
Menuda chapa
control,
me está dando
that
esta
this
vez.
was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back. the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up,
Quiero
he
despertarme.
thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All
Vaya,
I
creo
want
que
is
pasó
my
una puerta
life
estando
exactly the
totalmente
way
oscuras.
it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Abre los ojos, vale.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
No, otra vez no.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
¿Cómo?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better.
¿Por qué he pasado
Then she remembered the meeting she
por
had
una puerta
scheduled
que no
for
era?
that day. The
No,
very
perdón.
important
He bajado
people
las escaleras
whose
en vez de subir.
impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Después grité y salió corriendo. He desobedecido una sola vez. Vale, creo que he vuelto a empezar. He desobedecido una sola vez y he muerto.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Sí,
What could it
he
mean?
vuelto a empezar.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vale. No puedo apagarlo ahora. Antes he podido. Vale. Supuestamente tengo que ir a la habitación aquí a tener cojones que una sola vez
Stanley
aquí.
came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Vale, antes he ido por aquí. Ahora iré por la derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Lo de los
Perhaps
peces
he wanted to stop
es un
by the
final de los
employee
secretos,
lounge
vaya.
first, just to admire
Mucha
it.
mierda en este juego. Antes me dice sube la escalera. En vez de subirla, la he bajado y he muerto. Vale, no puedo tampoco entrar en ninguna habitación. Mucha mierda en este juego, ya lo estoy viendo ya.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Un espacio de
It had really
admiración.
been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Sarcasmo. Vale.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door
La
on his
primera
left.
puesta a la izquierda. Supongo que esa me lleva... Pues no. El mejor es el de la sala de la escoba.
Stanley
Hostia.
was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired
Era muy
years
malo
ago.
siguiendo indicaciones. Vale. No saltar desde el cargo. Desde, vamos, o sea, esto. Vale, me dice desde ahí, pero... ¡No! Ya hemos liado.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley left from the platform and plunged to his death.
Genial.
Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Todos creen que eres muy poderoso. No, ha sido sin querer, no. Nada más quería mirar abajo, no quería suicidarme. Espera, a ver si consigo llegar
All of
hasta allí
his
otra vez.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A ver, la sala de las escobas, a ver si sé dónde es eso. Aquí no, aquí no. Veo que los ordenadores cada vez están de una forma distinta. Input, vale. Sí, cada vez están diferentes, lo veo. I hate Mondays. Pues sí, yo también. Totalmente. Vale.
When Stanley came to a set
A ver
of
si
two
ahora
open
no me
doors,
puedo
he
suicidar.
entered the door on his left.
Cruza de su izquierda.
This was not the correct way to the
Este
meeting
no era el
room,
camino
and
correcto.
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Y Stanley lo sabía muy
Perhaps he
bien.
wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Quería mirar la sala. Vale.
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room.
Qué hermosa
What a
habitación.
gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
Vale.
But eager to get back to business,
Ansioso por
Stanley took the
recaminarse,
first
tomó la
open
primera
door
puerta a
on
la
his left.
izquierda. No. Quiero llegar donde antes sin morir.
Stanley was so bad at following directions. It's
Era muy malo
incredible he
siguiendo
wasn't
indicaciones.
5 years ago.
Te da más diálogos. Ya veo, ya. Alguno parece que te como que se medio enfada, ¿sabes? Vale. Y ahora, no te caigas. No hagas el tonto.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Creo que a lo mejor empezamos con el pie izquierdo. No soy tu enemigo, en serio, no lo soy.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
¿Te has olvidado de esa persona? Por favor, ya no
Stop
intentes
trying
tomar
to make
decisiones
every
por tu solo.
decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
¿Eso ha sido una amenaza?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
A ver,
To
¿qué me
put
pides
your
ahora?
work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Bueno, pues como no me estás pidiendo nada ahora mismo, sigo recto. Vale, por aquí está claro que no. Ahí va.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith
No
in
puedo coger el teléfono ahora. ¿Dónde estoy?
Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the
Me
oven.
estoy sacando el pan del horno.
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
¿Qué cojones?
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
La verdad es que tengo curiosidad.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man
Vaya.
named Stanley.
Oprime V en tu teclado. Nah. ¿Me quieres matar?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the
Cada botón que-
inconsequential
Madre mía.
nature of his existence.
No quiero morir. No quiero oprimir la T. Quiero irme. Quiero irme. Hijo de, me va a obligar a apretar la C.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to
Qué
do.
cabrón.
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this
Pero
life.
él eligió esta vida. Mentira. Qué cabrón es que me abre. No puedo irme de aquí. Salta. Abre la puerta. Hijo de, me obliga a apretar la N.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Bueno, eso es aplicable a cualquier tipo de trabajo. Oprime T para mirar la televisión. Verás.
And so he began to fantasize
¿Qué
about
cojones?
his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Este me está vacilando muy fuerte
So
ahora.
he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he
Está
began
cambiando
to fill
todo.
it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful
una fantasía
fantasy,
maravillosa.
and so in his
Su mente
head
la
he
revivió una
relived
vez
it
más.
again,
Genial.
and then again, and
Y otra.
again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Creo que me metí en el camino más perturbador que podía encontrar.
But there is no answer.
Yep.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more
Estoy haciendo su
invested
trabajo.
he gets.
Le dicen un
The
botón
more
y
he
tengo que
forgets which
Vale.
life is the real one.
O sea que esto va a acabar yo sentado en el despacho como estaba en el principio de la partida.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He
No se
won't stop.
detiene. No me
Here,
hace caso.
watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
No lo oprimas, pero es que si no lo oprimo no me puedo ir de aquí. ¿Ves? Estoy apretando varios botones diferentes a ese. Pero si no lo aprieto, no puedo avanzar. ¡Qué cabrón! Vaya encerrona me han metido aquí. A ver. Esperaremos un minuto. Si no ha pasado nada, le daré. No. 30 segundos. No puedo pasar por aquí. No puedo pasar por ningún lado. El ordenador no se entiende. No puedo abrir nada. No puedo hacer nada. Vale, quedan 10 segundos. 5 segundos. Y el minuto, vale. No ha pasado nada. Pues le apretamos.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself?
Está
How can I
decidiendo
get him to
matarse.
see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Qué cabrón, de verdad.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to
Me siento
him.
obligado, debo
I'm
hacerlo.
compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Muere, por favor.
El garfafo dice paga la coca mapache peruano.
And I tried again. And Stanley pushed the
Jamás.
button. And I tried.
¿Qué ha pasado? ¿He vuelto a morir? Sí, he vuelto a morir. Vale, pues volvemos. ¿Empezaré la primera de la
All of his co-workers were
No,
gone.
ya sé qué voy a
What
hacer
could
esta
it
vez.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Decidí ir a la sala de reuniones, vale. Macho, esto rinde verás todos los finales del juego, Ya sé qué voy a hacer esta vez. Hay que decir que ahora me han metido el final más largo, me parece a mí. Vale.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
La de su
he entered
izquierda,
the door
pues
on
no.
his left.
Derecha.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Y Stanley lo
Perhaps he
sabía muy
wanted
bien.
to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire
Vale.
it.
El final más largo te lleva varias horas, genial. Vale, llegamos aquí.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to
Vale, y ahora
Stanley?
cogeremos el camino de la
Its grace,
izquierda.
its subtle charm. No. Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker.
Vale.
But eager to get back to business,
Pues ansioso por
Stanley took the
encaminarse,
first open door on his left.
tomó la primera puerta a la izquierda.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Esto no lo sabía, ¿ves?
But Stanley didn't want to go back
Pero
to the
Stanley no quería
office.
volver a la
He
oficina.
wanted to wander about and get even further on track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go,
No tiene ni idea.
From here, it's, left.
Ok. Right. Pues nada, pues left.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
¿Qué gilipollas?
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Ya la hemos liado, el ruido de papeles.
Now, let's see, we went down right,
Derecha,
left,
izquierda,
down,
abajo.
left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it
Vale.
now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Vale. Supongo que por aquí. What the fuck?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Cierra los ojos, dice. ¿Qué cojones es?
Back to,
¿Despedido?
Who am I kidding? It's all rubbish
¿Empleado
now.
despedido?
The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste
Es
my
todo el
time trying
edificio.
to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
La puta, esto me está
And this
recordando a
time,
Matrix.
Suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm?
Mira,
Okay.
despedido.
From the top.
¿Qué? Ahora no he leído.